Do, 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 do. Put that one up a little bit. There we go. Da, 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 da. Okay. I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need to plug you in. Still never finished that other thing. I'm gonna go there. I can also go there. Good. Cables and cords. Alright, time for another horrible live stream. I don't really want to tonight, but the YouTube algorithm has changed and there it is promoting my live streams. Therefore, to get monetization, I must strike when the iron is hot, as they say. Yeah, we should.
Staples can help you crush your back-to-school to-do list. With deals to discover online and in-store. Saving on everything back to school? That was easy.
Hello.
Now, you can get whiter teeth in just 1 day with Crest 3D White Deep Stain Remover. A new revolutionary toothpaste that goes deeper to dissolve the bonds that hold stains to teeth.
Hello. I'm in the basement again, working on things again. It wasn't as bad as like the last couple of days, but it was still a long day. No, this is number 2. I still have tomorrow and Monday. Yeah. It's starting to, isn't it? I can feel the temperature change. Yeah, I have... Alright, sounds good. Alright, good night, Mama. Love you. Night, night. That was my mommy.
Coffee, wine, tea, gone. Shein is getting banned. According to a new law, even doing your Shein hauls can get you fined for over $100,000. But why? Hello, Internet. Welcome to Style Theory, the show that's guilty of having good taste. But not everyone is having such a good day. In fact, if you're Shein or Temu, you might be having the worst day ever. In June, the French Senate passed a bill to halt the rapidly growing influence of ultra-fast fashion brands like Shein and Temu. It passed almost unanimously, with 337 votes in favor of the bill and only 1 against. Oh man, I would hate to be the one guy who voted against this, because can you even imagine what that was like? No, my social anxiety cannot even take it. This bill wasn't messing around. It's ready to play hardball with the biggest names in fast fashion. It's calling for higher fees, banning any and all ads for fast fashion. And here is the craziest part. This bill could make it illegal, yes, illegal, for influencers and non-influencers to even show off their purchases from Shein or Temu online. But you know what isn't banned? Telling you that if you go to the link in our description and use code STYLEQUEEN,
Waiting for stuff to heat up. Hello!
Blue GamerSupps bottle. Now, the reason that France is taking such a huge swing against fast fashion is in order to protect the planet. But will it work? Can this bill actually do anything to take down the titans of fast fashion? Would stopping them really make a difference to the state of our planet? And is this something that you and I should be calling our representatives about to get them to jump on the bandwagon? It's time for me to embrace my inner Elle Woods and dust off my high school French as we unpack how France
Doing a little bit more on the
war
teeth today.
against fast fashion. Before we can talk about how France might be changing the game against fast fashion, we have to talk about why they would want to do it in the first place. Fast fashion has a big reputation, a big bad reputation. Fast fashion refers to clothing that's made cheaply in order for it to be made quickly. Hence the term fast fashion. You get
Hello,
it.
players.
What many may think, fast fashion isn't a new trend. The idea dates all the way back to the 1960s when the US and Europe first started to outsource the majority of their textile labor to other countries in order to keep up with the high demand for new affordable clothes. So it wasn't until the 90s where the phrase fast fashion first made an appearance in the New York Times as a way to describe the rapidly growing business called Zara. Zara made headlines, both good and bad, for shortening the design to rack pipeline, saying it would only take 15 days to take a new idea from concept to store. To put that into perspective, slow fashion, or traditional fashion, can take anywhere from a few weeks to a few months to even a year or more to go from design and concept into something that you can hold in your hands or buy in the store. This changed everything, and that speed has only gotten worse and faster in recent years as brands try to keep up with these rapidly changing trend cycles. Which, thanks to social media, specifically TikTok, has gotten incredibly short, with trends lasting from just days to maybe weeks at a time if you're lucky. In order to capitalize on every single micro trend that pops up on your feed, fast fashion brands like Shein and Temu have to be constantly putting out new designs. Shein alone puts out anywhere from 2,000 to 10,000 new designs onto their website every single day. In total, fast fashion brands are producing roughly double the amount of clothes now than they were back in 2000. That means that today, these fast fashion brands are flooding the market with more and more clothes that have to end up somewhere. And all that does is take that environmental strain that's down to clothing manufacturing and make it that much worse. Yeah, clothes aren't great for the environment, though few things that humans do actually are. But this is specifically talking about ones made with bad materials, under bad circumstances, and in very excessive quantities. For example, it takes around 2,700 liters, or about 30 bathtubs full of water, to make one cotton t-shirt. That's enough water to keep one person hydrated for 900 days.
Not everybody's getting a tongue, but
Yeah, no, I can't drink a shirt. But it gets worse. Around 1/5 of all water pollution on Earth can be traced back to the dyeing and finishing processes we apply to our fabrics. And then you have the microplastics. You know, those little pieces of plastic that we can't see but have been linked to multiple types of health issues in both humans and animals. 35% of all microplastics found in our oceans can be traced back to textiles, aka your clothes. Sweet. And that's not even talking about all the energy and fossil fuels that's needed to harvest, manufacture, and ship it all. According to an analysis by Business Insider, about 10%
cool, damn you.
of all global carbon emissions come from the fashion industry. That's the same amount of carbon output as the entire European Union, which includes our diva of the day, France. Now, I want to clarify that this is not me saying all clothes bad. And I am not encouraging anyone to go out and become like a nudist or something. In fact, please don't do that. Like, respectfully, I do not want to see all of that. However, this environmental problem wouldn't be such a big deal if we were buying clothes in order to wear them for years and years, instead of, buying micro trends to keep up with what's popular on TikTok. On average, the modern person wears a single item of clothing just 7 times before throwing it away.
I don't know where these people are. I still got shit from high school, man.
Is being worn 36% less now than they were 15 years ago. Yikes. But it's not all down to the customer. A lot of it is about the quality of the clothes themselves. To keep items cheap, both for the company and the consumer, most fast fashion garments are made from synthetic materials like polyester
all
and
these
use
short,
subpar
but it is what
stitching
it is.
techniques that are faster to do.
Mess up.
This leads to less durable items, which are easier to wear and tear than a better made garment. And since that item is cheap, you're less likely to try to repair it if it gets damaged. Instead, it's more cost-effective and time-efficient to just toss it into the garbage and go get a new one. Nowadays, people are buying 60% more clothes than they did back in 2000. And then most of it just ends up in a landfill. The average American throws away 82 pounds or 37 kilograms of clothing every year. And over in France, our diva of the day trying to fight the system, they are throwing out 35 pieces of clothing every second. In total, that means that an absolutely insane 92 million metric tons of clothes end up in our planet's landfills each year. That is an entire garbage truck load of clothes being dumped every single second. And it's a problem that's not going away anytime soon. Most of these items are not biodegradable, or they take hundreds of years to actually break down. So yeah, those piles of clothes sitting in landfills are not going away anytime soon. They're sticking around. I think you get the idea. Someone has to do something, and France just might be the one to do it.
Clothing, okay,
Now
yeah, I
that
can
we
understand that.
The problem, let's take a look at how France is trying to become the solution. As I mentioned at the start of the episode, France passed a bill that was called this long French name. I'm not even going to try pronouncing that because I saw how you roasted my pronunciations in the K-pop Demon Hunters episode. We're not going to do that. No. Anyway, this bill, which I'm going to nickname the bandwagon bill for use in this episode, aims to reduce the environmental impact of the fast fashion industry. And remember, everyone was on board this bandwagon bill, except that one guy. To be fair, though, that guy did try to explain why he voted that way.
Listen, the machine is broken. I meant to vote yes, and I demand a recount because this is fake news. Read it. I voted yes.
But back to the bandwagon bill. What exactly does it do? Well, with a little help from my friend Google Translate, because, spoiler alert, the entire thing was in French, I was finally able to read through the entire thing. And it took me a while. The main purpose of this bill is to add regulations for what it calls ultra fast fashion. This is just another name for the fast fashion that we talked about earlier. Just a little more extreme. It's the same poor quality, constant additions, and lack of incentive to keep and care for your item. And companies who engage in those ultra fast fashion practices will be subjected to a ton of new rules, regulations, and of course fees. Oh boy, fees. You can sort these new rules into three main buckets. The first is transparency. According to the bandwagon bill, on websites where these products are sold, companies are required to include messaging that encourages customers to reuse or repair damaged items. They must also disclose the social and environmental impact of the products that they are selling to their customers. And before you ask, no, they cannot put it at the bottom of the website where no one will see it in a font that no one can read. These messages have to be written in legible text, placed right next to the price of the product, and be included on every page where that product is featured. It's kind of like the fast fashion equivalent of the Surgeon General's warning, which tells you about all the health risks of cigarettes and is printed right on the package every time that you buy it here in the US. Yeah, sometimes the US does smart things. Sometimes. But that...
Sometimes.
Look, I deleted Garrett.
How you guys doing tonight? You can just keep me on as background music if you like.
But that's not all. Companies will also be forced to display what country the piece of clothing was manufactured in. Also right next to the price and in the same sized font. Oh boy, that is starting to look kind of crowded, huh? Well, that's kind of the point. It's an incentive for these businesses to stop these ultra fast fashion bad practices. But for sake of this explanation, let's just say that those companies are willing to put up with all of that extra text. What happens next? Well, that brings us to bucket number 2, the money, honey. This bill deals out some hefty fines to anything sold in France that's considered to be made unsustainably, which by definition, all fast fashion products are.
And when I say that these fines are big, I mean like big.
In 2025, the fine starts off at €5, which is about $5.78 per item. Yes, per item. That fine can then be raised up to a maximum of 50% of the item's value. To start, this fine is scheduled to go up €1 per year every year until it reaches a max of €10 or $11.55 in 2030, which I know doesn't seem like much, but when you remember just how many items companies like Shein and Temu put out on a daily basis, that starts to add up really quick. And all that money being raised by these fines, well, a portion of it will go to eco-organizations, ones that are dedicated to improving the recycling infrastructure across France. We'd love to see it. The bill also introduces a new parcel tax, which costs €2 to €4 on packages sent to French customers from non-EU countries, only if that package weighs less than 2 kilograms, or about 4.4 pounds. This is a sneaky way of trying to make shipping ultralight items, like say some clothes, a little more expensive and a lot less tempting. What? It's a fact. Humans hate paying for shipping. But the bandwagon bill isn't just adding a bunch of fees. It's subtracting some tax loopholes that companies like Shein and Temu have been exploiting for years in order to save some money. In France, as in most countries, companies and individuals can get tax breaks for making charitable donations. This is done either in cash or by donating items, like say, clothes. Yeah, it's exactly what you're thinking. In France, that tax deduction can be as much as 60%, which is a lot of money. And that means that losing that loophole is a big deal to these companies. And despite all of that, it is actually this third bucket where France woke up and chose violence. Effective January of 2026, France is instituting a complete and total ban on all advertising for products and companies that engage in ultra-fast fashion practices. And it gets even crazier because it's not just official sponsored ads that are being targeted by the bandwagon bill. Indirect promotions are also at risk.
I actually printed out this section of the bill because I want to read it to you. It's just wild. So, to quote our translated version of this bill, persons engaging in commercial influence activities electronically, i.e. social media influencers, whether for payment or free of charge, are prohibited from any direct or indirect promotions of products that fall under this ultra fast fashion bill. Yikes.
TLDR, influencers, whether they're paid or not, will not be able to promote these fast fashion brands.
And given the specific language used here, it means that even if you are not an influencer, if you, a regular everyday person, buy a bunch of stuff from Shein, you legally cannot show it off on social media or you'll be fined.
It is basically a ban on any Shein or Temu haul video, and their inclusion in other videos could be seen as promotion. So your OOTD with a cardigan from Shein or your house tour with your rug from Temu could be seen as you endorsing those companies and could get you fined. Oh, and if you violate this section of the bandwagon bill, you could be fined upwards of 100,000 euros, which is roughly 117,000 US dollars.
Can you afford that? Because I can't afford that.
Nope. And it makes any of that money that you saved by buying on Shein or Temu pretty much worthless. Okay. That is a lot to take in. So, what happens now? On the surface, it basically looks like France went nuclear on the fast fashion industry. And the truth is, they kind of did. This is no joke. One of the biggest things to happen in the fashion industry in decades.
4, 5,
so do I
6,
feel
7,
bad for these fast fashion
and a bunch
companies?
of them.
Well, the short answer is no. But the long answer is Also, no! But I do care about the wider implications that this bill carries outside of France. Because reminder, this bill does only currently affect companies and influencers operating inside of France. That being said, France isn't the only one to try to use laws to combat the fast fashion industry. There have been similar bills passed throughout the EU that are trying to do the same thing, though to varying levels of intensity. France kind of went hard.
France really is like that girl. Like, we stan a diva. The other important thing to note about the bandwagon bill is that technically it hasn't become law yet.
Now look, I'm not about to become the French version of Schoolhouse Rock and start singing about how a bill becomes law. However,
much like in the US, the French parliament has two branches, the National Assembly and the Senate. And both houses have to pass the same exact bill before the president can sign it into law. Last year, the National Assembly created its own version of this fast fashion bill that passed unanimously.
no accidental button press this time. One time.
However, when that version of the bill finally made its way to the Senate, they added a bunch of new provisions, including most of the saucy bits that we talked about today. Now, this version needs to either be passed by the National Assembly or the two groups will need to meet somewhere in the middle before it can be signed into law.
And so there is the possibility that some of the more intense parts of the bandwagon bill that we discussed today won't actually be made into law. But considering how everyone, or almost everyone, was on board with this version of the bandwagon bill, there is a high likelihood that it could make it through to law as is. However, there is one other not so small problem with the bill as is, at least if you happen to be some other not so small companies.
Throughout this video, I've continuously talked about how this bill affects brands like Shein and Temu.
But what about other companies? Companies like Zara, the OG fast fashion company, or H&M, or ASOS.
Not only are these brands based in Europe, where all of these laws happen to be popping off, they are all considered fast fashion brands. So does that mean that they also are going to be subjected to all the rules and fines just like Shein and Temu? While this bill does specifically target what it calls ultra fast fashion, aka the biggest offenders in the fast fashion space, that definition is pretty vague.
Like how much fast fashion needs to be produced for it to fall under ultra fast fashion. The bill doesn't specify. As it turns out, this is actually pretty common with French law. They tend to leave those kind of details out of their bills.
It's kind of a, the government will figure this out later. It's not my problem kind of deal, which I don't get. According to the French politicians, when they say ultra fast fashion, they are almost exclusively talking about Shein and Temu, not their other fast fashion counterparts.
Hot, fucking hot, fucking hot.
The clarifications made by the Senate make it possible to target players who ignore environmental, social, and economic realities, notably Shein and Temu, without penalizing the European ready-to-wear sector.
This implies that while they will be going after Chinese companies like Shein and Temu, they won't be going after European companies like the Swedish H&M or the Spanish Zara.
So, unfortunately for ASOS, who is based out of the UK, which is no longer part of the EU, the wording is a little more murky. While the bandwagon bill isn't going after all of fast fashion yet, it is going after fast fashion's biggest hitters. Shein and Temu are on a completely different scale when it comes to fast fashion, where Shein releases around 2,000 to 10,000 new designs per day on its website. Zara releases an average of 19, and H&M only releases 12. No, not 12,000, 12.
Don't get me wrong, this bill, even with its flaws and potential revisions, is still a huge deal. It paints a target on the backs of these huge companies, and it's a target they're unlikely to be able to shake off.
Hopefully, this bill is just the first of many. I hope that it inspires the likes of the EU, the UK, and heck, maybe even the US to take the fast fashion crisis seriously.
And who knows, maybe this will be the spark that lights the flame of a fast fashion revolution.
Hey, that's just a theory. A style theory. Keep shopping smart. Up next on Style Theory.
Are Amazon Prime Day deals a scam? Or the best thing to happen to your wallet since the original Black Friday?
Don't just see a place. Experience it. Master ramen with a chef. Dive into underground jazz with a musician. Or sing Notre Dame with someone who helped restore it. Introducing Airbnb Experiences.
You probably know Vistaprint for business cards, because we've helped millions of businesses get the perfect cards at the perfect price. With premium finishes and thousands of designs, we make it easy to print your style. At Vistaprint, if you need it, we print it. Print it all at vistaprint.ca.
It's that time of year. The weather's getting colder, families are gathering to make memories, and we take a little time to remember what really matters in life. Capitalism. Today we're using the classic theorist methods of research and overthinking to optimize your Black Friday shopping. How can you save the most money while shopping for all your loved ones this holiday season? Spoiler alert, if you're asking that question, you've already lost. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Style Theory, where today we are gonna beat Black Friday with
How are you guys doing tonight?
cheese. So it is the holiday season, and you know what that means. It is time to go out and, like little elves that we are, go buy gifts for all our family and friends and loved ones. And when you're an employer, like I am, it also means that you're getting gifts for your employees. But how do you do that? I want to optimize my gift-giving experience as boss of Theorist Inc. Incorporated. That's what the Inc. stands for, but I thought including Incorporated would make it sound more official. In Theorist Inc. Incorporated, the question I have is this: how do I optimize my Black Friday experience? Well, friends, I've done some research, I'm starting a plan, and it's all top secret. Let's go! To the boss cave! It's this way. I'm still tethered to my thing. Well, live action Matt Pat's busy untangling himself. Let's do a little bit of a background check on the most popular shopping day of the year, Black Friday. The OG Black Friday came into being way back in the 1950s in none other than Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Because, of course, the holiday where people trample each other to get their hands on a Tickle Me Elmo started in the city of brotherly love. As the story goes, police officers in the city began using the phrase to describe the chaos that happened in the city when large numbers of suburban tourists rushed into town to begin their holiday shopping, creating traffic jams, accidents, and shoplifting. It also didn't really help the crowd situation that there was a tradition of a big football game happening on Saturday, Army versus Navy, pushing the city to its breaking point. And from there, the Black Friday name just kinda stuck. For a few years, stores tried to rebrand it all as Big Friday to avoid that negative sounding name, but yeah, it didn't work. So then they tried again to respin the narrative around Black Friday as a positive thing. You see, many businesses operate at a financial loss for much of the year. In other words, you would say that they're in the red. That is, until the day after Thanksgiving, when massive sales finally allowed them to turn a profit, putting them in the black. This one had a bit more success, but what made it truly enter the public consciousness was a 1961 article in the New York Times where they used the phrase to specifically refer to the day after Thanksgiving as the busiest shopping and traffic day of the year. Though that's not always entirely true. In reality, it competes for that title with the Saturday before Christmas, known as Super Saturday. Anyway, fast forward to today where you can't escape the marketing branding Black Friday as the day of the year's best deals, regardless of whether you're buying those gifts for others or for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it if you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
Well, it's okay. You can admit it if you have bought an item or 2 or maybe 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it. You bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
If you're wondering what that was, it's because all local news channels are run by basically the same company, so they share scripts everywhere. That montage goes on for like another 5 minutes. Truly, we live in a dystopian nightmare. But hey, if you can't beat them, join them. That's why I'm bringing you all to my basement to learn how to best plan for the big day. Allow me to walk you through Matt Pat's declassified Black Friday survival guide. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Best Boss Basement, otherwise known as my personal basement. This is where all the best ideas come to fruition, and in this case, I'm putting this big brain strategy to work on coming up with the optimized gift plan for our holiday Christmas gifts this year. Everyone's done a good job this year. CPM's been a little bit rough, but that's not their fault. They've done amazing work. Had to pump out so many damn shorts, like nobody's business. It's time that we all get rewarded for it. So without any further ado, welcome to my top secret plan, Do Not Steal, on how to win Black Friday. Starting with Step number 1, setting your budget ahead of time. Since 2008, the amount that we spend on holiday gifts has steadily been on the rise, and this year it's expected to reach just shy of $900. That said, countless studies have shown
Everyone in my Christmas circle is getting cookies, banana bread, a pie, maybe some tarts, and a hummingbird feeder from Wish or Temu.
The connotation is deprivation, depression, not getting what you want. So our diet makes us feel like there's a famine coming. And while we can certainly take that on in the short term, the long-term deprivation of a diet doesn't really work. When our brains are in deprivation mode, you start to see food differently. It becomes more appetizing and tempting because now you can't have it. Budgets work similarly because instead of thinking about what you want, you're thinking about what you can't have. A budget implies scarcity. So instead, create a spending plan, which sounds the same but actually works in a slightly different way that benefits your brain. Unlike a budget, a spending plan is focused on your goals. You first sit down and think about all the things that you value the most. So if you want to take a vacation, your goal becomes take a trip to Japan in 2025. Once you have that goal in mind, you build a plan on how to execute on that goal. Crunching numbers, planning how to save, moving money around. In its implementation, a spending plan is virtually the same as a budget, but the approach is different enough that it helps our brains succeed. So this year I have $1,000 to spend on the corporate gifts for our 6 department heads. And I want to get each one a personalized gift that makes sense for them. I also feel good about getting the most out of my money by shopping on Black Friday, which means it's now time for step number 2, figuring out what I actually got to get everyone.
Release me. On your grip. God, how many tongues did I make?
In the editing dungeon, kind of goes without saying. A little bit weary, a little bit damp, a little bit of a bummer. So maybe something like, say, a lamp, or something that gives him the illusion of hope and daylight in his day-to-day operations. We'll see. We also know that he enjoys bops, otherwise known as sick beats or tunes to those of you in various generations. So he likes music, he lives in a dungeon, he also has incredibly long hair, just like big old wad of hair that he likes to clump up on his head like a big old Cinnabon up here in the man bun style. I hate to tell him that was, the style back in 2016 and probably should be updated at this point, but hey, he does him. That's probably a style theory episode for another day, right? So, taking all of these factoids one by one, stuck in editing dungeon, enjoys Bob's long hair, we need something that's gonna hold the hair back, but also give him the sick tunes that he's looking for. Obviously, the answer is headphones. Bonus points of this one is the fact that not only is this a present for him, you're gonna make his day-to-day life that much better, it also is gonna help his work here at Team Theorist. Because who doesn't love a corporate gift that helps their day-to-day office life? We've got ourselves Lee. For those of you who don't know, Lee is the creative director of the Film Theory channel, so obviously, as part of that territory, he loves going to the movies. Maybe a film pass, maybe a popcorn bucket, maybe a big old jar of artificial butter substitute for said popcorn. We know that he also analyzes every frame, just like me. Aww. Like boss, like creative director. It's a beautiful relationship. Maybe I should have him analyze every frame of Hello Neighbor. And then lastly, he wears glasses, as evidenced by his little avatar here. So it kind of goes without saying that he needs something that's going to be, magnified for his own enjoyment. So we need something that's going to deliver him the entertainment, the pop culture, and do it at a scale that he won't have to squint excessively hard for. Which tells me that Lee is going to get himself a projector. Maybe one of those like close scale projectors, maybe a big one. We'll do some research, but he is going to get himself a projector. We're going to choose Film Theory Red here. By the way, I don't know if you have used smelly markers at any point in your young adult or adult lives whenever you're watching this, because obviously YouTube is a platform for ages 13 and up. But man, these still bang. Just by the way, this is the cherry one. This is really good. I remember when I was growing up. Purple. Oh, so good. To this very day. Grape. Best smell ever. What's this one? I haven't seen orange yet. What is this? Oh! I'm betrayed by this marker. Oh, what is this? Apparently the marker is supposed to smell like cinnamon rocket fuel. Personally, I think it was just a mistake at the factory and they had to come up with some excuse. We go from Lee over to Santi. Now, for those of you who don't know, Santi is our creative director for Food Theory. And really, the man is just an enigma wrapped in a mystery, right? He's a big food guy. He also loves to cook. It really goes hand in hand. But there is something about Santi. For as much as he loves to cook, for as smart as he is about all things in the kitchen, he is just an absolute craft baker. And I say that with the most love and admiration in my heart. I'm the guy who's tried to make cookies out of sawdust for multiple years in a row at this point. So, one other thing that we could get for Santi, then... Shoot, I just threw away the yellow marker. So for Santi, we're gonna make sure
Yes, fingers. Hate it.
by getting him
My
a
other
sand
hot glue gun wasn't stringy,
are pretty costly though.
and it didn't even
this year
get
he's
hot
not
enough to
big
burn
when it
me.
comes to the CPMs.
Alright,
So if we could find a little bit of a discount
So what am I gonna
on that
do?
puppy, that would be
this is going in here.
everyone's favorite Brit.
I need a bucket.
It's Mr. Tom.
I need
Tom's
a
the creative director
container.
of Game Theory. He is my fellow
I
FNAF
need
boy
that.
up in the Five Nights at Freddy's attic where we're trying to solve the lore. He's been there in the trenches calculating how much Sonic's rings are better at, or whether Mario can break bricks with his fists. However, you'll notice one thing. He's either all about FNAF and indie horror, or he's all about and wider Nintendo properties. So, in the interest of getting on to write me more episodes, we're gonna get him the Xbox Series X, but not the X, the S, because the S is slightly more cost effective. You know, it plays the exact same games anyway. Like, do you really need the updated frame rate? No, you don't. And honestly, this is me doing him a favor, right? Because doesn't the Xbox X, like, actually smoke, burst out into flames sometimes? Did they fix that? I think they fixed that. I should probably look into that. I did look into that, and it turns out it was a hoax. Good to know. Still, I don't want to risk Tom or the budget, so we're sticking with the S. Moving on to everyone's favorite figment of my imagination, co-host at GT Live, Ash.
It's oh so quiet. You fall in love, sing boom, the sky up above.
Okay, yeah.
What's new at McDonald's? Like the chicken, filet of fish, 6-piece chicken McNuggets, and Big
I
Mac
need some
meals.
stuffing, just a little
Meals
bit
start
though.
at $9.99 with medium fries and a medium fountain drink. Get your face for less.
Ash just moved to a new apartment. I don't know if you saw it, but in a previous episode here on Style Theory, we actually had a Feng Shui episode. We got to see the inside of Ash's apartment, and it was barren outside of the very small rug that we bought for them. So we're just doing a really good job. But Ash is also an epic gamer, clearly, because we game on the GT Live couch. Also got Peacock to watch FNAF, and before that month's trial is up, we should probably get them something to watch more things on, because Lord knows that they're absolutely going to cancel that Peacock subscription at the end of this month. So, in order to accomplish all of these things, right, decorate the living room, get her the chance to game, give her the chance to make the most out of that 3-month trial of Peacock, we're going to get Ash a good, moderately sized, mid-range TV, because it's the sensible option. And if there's one thing that I know Ash appreciates, it's being sensible. And last but certainly not least, we have ourselves Amy, creative director of Style Theory. You've seen on the channel a couple times. She's basically my puppeteer on this channel. So what do you give the person who's giving so
You're
much
missing
to you?
wings.
And
You're
by so
missing
much, I mean giving
everything.
you so much edible underwear.
Sure,
In a,
duck.
corporate approved way.
Bug.
Well, what do we know about Amy?
Nope, half a horse.
Well, clearly she's a fashion icon,
him.
and she's so
Somebody's looking for something.
worldly, and she travels all
Oh,
the time.
hello, leopards.
But she needs space to pack all of
this
her
one.
amazing cosplays.
This is a list of details that she wrote about herself. That's not to say that she isn't these things.
These
I'm just
things.
saying. There's a very clear difference between the factoids that were given the other employees at this company.
Can I just call this out real quick? Just for the sake of comparison. Let's rewind for a second, shall we?
Small monkey.
Santi. Focus. Let me tell you about Santi. Grew up in Hong Kong.
Maybe.
Lives in Miami and California. Lived in Argentina for a while. Does like mountain climbing. But no. The bullet points that I'm
Oh,
giving
no,
for
you're
Santi
homely. I'm
are
keeping you for
food
me.
guy likes more food. Or let's go even further back to Lee going to the movies, watches the movies, and wears glasses. So whoever wrote all of these is in a stark difference to the fashion icon beauty guru extraordinaire who travels the world and needs some space to pack many of her amazing cosplays.
Is this just like fanfiction? Like Amy just read herself a fanfiction.
I wrote Amy's.
You wrote it.
I wrote Amy fanfiction.
Okay.
Well, Amy, have I got a gift for you, my friend. I'm gonna get Amy some luggage. And I have the perfect luggage. This is actually Theory Wear that is coming out mid-December. She helped design this, actually. So, like, we can give it to her, and that'll be the gift. And it functions on her traveling a lot. So there you go, Amy. Very own Theory Wear.
I think if I lower the cooling, it'll cool faster. If I lower it, will it cool
She
faster?
probably doesn't want something that she worked on, albeit being very high quality. So maybe I do something else. I still like this idea of doing luggage, but we're just going to, you know, buy some luggage as opposed to making her design it herself. Luggage.
That's enough. Get in there.
There you have it. So, with our markers smelled and our list prepared, it's time for step number 3, good old-fashioned research. You see, every major retailer from Target to Best Buy to Old Navy puts out a pamphlet that shows off all their Black Friday deals. But that right there, that sucks. I don't want all these ads floating around my house, and I especially don't want to be having to cross-reference across a bunch of different sources. There's gotta be a smarter way to approach deal hunting, right? And guess what? There is. Much like the entire industry of Black Friday's been built to squeeze every last dollar out of consumers, consumers have developed their own systems to get one up over the big boys. There are a plethora of sites out there who've already done the hard work of cataloging every store's Black Friday deals. Websites like BlackFriday.com and TheBlackFriday.com have scanned every store's major ads and hyperlinked them so you can keep track. They break it down by product category, helping to surface the best deals, and even having store-specific tips, like how Walmart offers a discount for purchases made online and then opting to pick them up in the store. Or where you can find your local Target's layout on Black Friday morning so you can then beat the other less prepared shoppers. And speaking of saving money while getting great gifts for your loved ones and yourself, I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's episode, Vessi. Fun fact, North Carolina, it's kind of rainy in the winter. See, we're not north enough to get a ton of snow, but also not south enough to avoid the seasonal changes. We just end up with a lot of rain in the winter time. Enter Vessi, the hero that we didn't know we needed. Why? Because each of Vessi's amazing stylish products, from the clothes to the shoes, are 100% waterproof. And if you don't believe me, then believe the tried and true Theorist method, experimental testing. Steph and I braved the cold October rain to test the waterproofness for ourselves. I was all decked out in Vessi, and Steph agreed to take one for the team and be the case study in her normal, non-protective Vessi wear for the good of the cause. And immediately you could tell the difference here. My feet clad in the Vessi Soho sneakers were dry as a desert, no matter how many puddles I was splashing around in.
Your pants are definitely wet.
My pants are definitely wet at this point. Stop. I think that officially makes me a member of Vessi's Dry Socks Club. You can even see the water beating up perfectly on the outside of my green Vessi overcast jacket. I could literally just wipe the water away. Look at that. It is so cool. Heck, even my Vessi gloves were keeping me cozy and dry. And bonus for all you looking to get some social media pics while rocking your Vessi finest, they're touchscreen friendly, meaning that you don't need to remove your gloves and get your fingers all wet and cold to take your pics. But Matt Pat, I hear you saying to your screen, what if it's sunny? Well, no worries. Vessi is also super breathable for a cool sunny day. I wore the exact same outfit for the state fair for a food theory shoot, and I was at the perfect temperature all day long. And hey, if you want a more fashion-oriented sneaker, they got you covered too. Alta is a stylish high top with a sleek silhouette that I wore to take Ollie trick-or-treating this Halloween. They went perfectly with my whole that day, and again, waterproof, which meant that rainy Halloween went a whole lot smoother. Plus, they have the Theorist seal of approval on comfort thanks to Vessi's 4-way stretch technology. And lucky for all you style theorists, Vessi is having their biggest sale of the year right now. So click the link in the description or go to Vessi.com/theorists to get a head start on your holiday shopping before it's gone. That's Vessi, VESSI.com/theorists, THEORISTS, to shop Vessi's biggest deals of the year. Thanks again to Vessi for sponsoring this video. So, after doing the research across the ads, here's where my holiday shopping list shook out. Dan's headphones were at Walmart, where normally they'd cost me a whopping $349, but with the doorbuster promotions, we can get this for just $149, saving us a full $200. Hey editors, can we get ourselves a deal tracker to keep a tally of all this? Awesome, thanks. Lee's projector, originally priced at $99, Target's doorbusters had it listed at $79, a savings of $20. For Santi's mixer, the full price is usually a hefty $449, but Target wins the day again with a listed price of $249, another $200 savings. Looking at the tracker, without those sorts of savings, I would be in trouble. Instead, we've already saved almost half of that original total thanks to our savvy deal hunting. Tom's Xbox, well, the Series X may not literally be on fire. The deals for the Series S, yeah, they're not setting things ablaze either, only saving us about $50. Ash's sensible 55-inch TV was originally priced at $430, but Best Buy will be selling it for $200 on Black Friday, a difference of $230. Lastly is Amy's luggage. Though Theory wear would definitely be the more colorful option. I did find this full 5-piece set at Macy's. You know, that super hip store that your grandma loves. This set was originally priced at $300, but with the Black Friday deals, it's knocked all the way back down to $70. We've just saved ourselves another $230. And checking it on the budget track, we are coming in just under the budget, saving a full $930 off that non-discounted pricing. A whopping 48% less. Now all I gotta do is prepare my route and get my tent ready for a frantic morning of Black Friday shopping before all those doorbuster deals are gone. We've marked out all the stores that we need to hit. Now the only question is, how do we get there, right? We have to get to Best Buy first, because that one is opening at 5 a.m. So I am there, ready to go. Best Boss attire, let's go. Doors open. I am stampeding along with the rest of the herd, and I am getting that TV for Ash, because Ash deserves that mid-range TV. And then immediately, we're running over to Macy's, which opens at 6 a.m. And at Macy's, we are definitely getting Amy, that fashionista icon. We are getting her that luggage. But we're not wasting a whole lot of time there, because guess what? Also open at 6 a.m. That's going to be our Target, right? And let's be honest, Target has basically everything that you need. We're absolutely knocking out Lee there. So we are getting a projector for Lee and his little tiny eyes. We are getting a stand mixer for Santi so he can stop sucking at baking. And we are getting Tom that beautiful Xbox Series S. It's cost effective, and he needs to get out more and play more games that aren't Nintendo. And then last but certainly not least, we are wrapping things up where we all began, going to Walmart, getting Dan that beautiful set of headphones. I think in total, we're going to save around $1,000 across all of this. It's going to be done in a couple of hours. I'm going to be camping out. It's going to be great, and everyone will hail me as the best, smartest boss possible. What I would say, if this was truly the way to beat Black Friday. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's not. All this, it's all a bunch of marketing hype, my friends. Take it away, VO Matt Pat. You see, these deals that we're so afraid to miss out on, that draw us in and make us overspend and camp out and trample on each other, they aren't actually unique deals. They exist all year long. And honestly, there are even better deals than what you end up with if you wait until Black Friday. I took a look at the price history of our shopping list using a few sites like Honey and Slick Deals. Amy's luggage set, it's been as low as $49.99. Santi's stand mixer, Sam's Club had it for $190. Heck, that doorbuster deal Target has for Lee's projector, it's on a better sale right now as I'm writing this episode. In total, I could have increased my savings from 48% to 53% if I hadn't tried to wait until the last minute. Instead of saving $930, I could have saved $1,030, an extra $100 in my pocket, and an extra couple hours of sleep the morning after Thanksgiving. It's a classic bait and switch. Make you believe that this is the best time of year to shop while hyping up the incredible deals, because who in their right mind is looking retroactively at this sort of information? We are. When it comes to buying things, each major product category has a different best time of year to buy it. Electronics, yeah, those are definitely best purchased on Black Friday. TVs, Black Friday, or surprisingly February, around the time of the Super Bowl. For clothes, you're going to want to look for deals at the end of each season as they clear out old products to make room for the new stuff. If you're buying mattresses, Memorial and Labor Day are the times to shop. Other large furniture purchases are best made during patriotic holidays. Memorial Day, Labor Day, President's Day, and Independence Day. It's pretty darn random, right? Because the random holidays where people find themselves having extra time but aren't already earmarked for family events and aren't long enough for some large vacation. Labor Day is especially strong here because it's a seasonal transition. Jewelry is best a few weeks after Valentine's and Christmas, and buying a car, you're best doing that late summer, midweek at the end of the day. That might seem very specific, and it is. It's very intentional. Late summer is when they're looking to change over model years and are looking to offload inventory. Midweek is when customer flow is less, and end of day is when they're eager to close a deal out of fear of losing you and your business the second that you walk off the lot. The key is, whenever an industry is switching over the inventory, like car model years, that is going to be when the sales are at their best. Because while Black Friday will always have itself some worthwhile deals, the way to truly beat Black Friday is to think ahead, shopping smarter all year long. That way you can spend your holiday season giving the best gift of all, your time and attention to the people that you care about. But hey, that's just a theory. A style theory. Who's the smartest boss now? Take it away, best boss man. Take it away, best boss man.
A little bit wider.
Today's episode episode is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage.
Do you feel anxious?
Yes.
Stressed?
Yes.
The weight of all your responsibilities
Yes.
weighing you down? Well, what if you could solve those problems in just a few easy steps? Introducing Feng Shui.
Feng what?
Feng Shui, an ancient Chinese philosophy dating back 5,000 years. With just a snap, go from drab to fab as Feng Shui melts the stress away.
Wow. I love Feng Shui.
But does it actually work in real life? That's what we aim to find out today.
I love Feng Shui.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Style Theory, the show that's changing your life one crazy experiment at a time. Real talk, life? It's hard, man. Adulting sucks. There's taxes, there's bills, there's your job, kids, family get-togethers, loading the dishwasher, unloading the dishwasher, laundry, mowing the lawn. It is a non-stop litany of to-do lists. Or if you're younger and you're still lucky enough to have your parents doing most of that stuff for you, there's still homework, there's friends, there's chores, there's extracurriculars, there's the simple pressure of being a kid in the digital age. It is a lot. Enter Style Theory, where we realize that style means more than just fashion and beauty. It's also about lifestyle. Huh, go figure. It's almost like we thought about that before we launched the channel. We are playing 4D chess up in here with our branding. Anyway, in our latest effort to solve the anxieties of the world, we the home decor concept of Feng Shui. You know, that thing that you don't know how to spell and that people keep talking about over on HGTV.
It's a Feng Shui nightmare. All the money is going out the front door.
This is a real thing, Jeff. So you're telling me you're on Feng Shui? No, not me. And you're on wizards. Feng Shui is real. Wizards are fake.
No, they're both real.
Forgive me if I doubt this advice coming from the reality TV host insisting that wizards are real. In short, Feng Shui is an ancient Chinese philosophy dating back to at least as early as 5000 BC, all centered around finding harmony between you and your surrounding environment. The term literally means wind water, which are elements believed to help direct the energy flow of the universe. And that right there is the core of Feng Shui. The belief is that the arrangement of your surroundings can positively or negatively impact your life, from your energy levels to your mood to
My
your
bank
health, your
account does not have any Feng Shui.
That means the money is running out of the house and they're going to go broke.
I don't know. As a man of science, this all seems a bit too woo-woo for my tastes. But also as a man of science, I believe in testing and data. So we decided to try it out. Would following the principles of Feng Shui help us transform our spaces into calmer, more productive areas? Would it help clear our minds from the everyday stresses of the world? Or would rearranging the house only cause more headaches for our already stressed out lives?
Cord management is starting to stress me out.
Right? What am I supposed to do with this cord?
This is a Bigfoot. I'm just gonna cut his face off.
In the middle of the room, maybe. But now we just
Nothing
have
personal.
cords everywhere.
That, my friends, is what we aim to find out today. Now, right off the bat, it's important to understand that Feng Shui isn't just a single thing. Instead, it encompasses many schools of thought, teachings, and interpretations that have evolved across thousands of years, which means that our topic is only going to be focusing on the four main principles widely agreed upon by most Feng Shui practitioners: nature, clutter, command, and balance. First off, Feng Shui promotes incorporating nature into your room design in the form of plants and natural light. The rationale here is that plants represent growth and absorb negative energy. And while that certainly sounds very mystical at first blush,
Is that why they all die around me?
from reality, plants do absorb negative energy, the CO2 waste that we breathe out, replacing it with life-giving oxygen. So I can see a world where this sort of philosophy checks out. The positive effects of plants have also been supported through research, with studies showing that workers exposed to indoor plants have better attention spans. Another study on their effects in healthcare environments showed that people reported less stress when they were in rooms with indoor plants. As for natural light, in Feng Shui, sunlight's viewed as providing healing energy, which again feels pretty darn fantastical, but also isn't that far from scientific truth. Sunlight's been shown to boost serotonin production in the brain, the neurochemical that makes you feel happier. Principle 2, clutter. In other words, get rid of it. Basically, Feng Shui says that clutter blocks the flow of positive energy around you, surrounding you with unfinished business that can prevent new opportunities from entering your life. The basic idea is that if you have unfinished projects lying around, they're constantly reminding you that you're being unproductive.
Well,
so
I'm
you start
fucked.
to internalize negative attitudes like, I can't finish projects that I start. And again, science reinforces this conclusion. Many studies have found that clutter is associated with elevated levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. However, Feng Shui poses a very easy solution. Lose everything that you don't plan on touching or using in a given day, and only keep around the items that are going to remind you of your past successes. These then promote positive thoughts and provide a sense of accomplishment. Principle 3, command. In other words, optimizing how you position the most important pieces of furniture in any given room. This one goes pretty darn deep, but the TLDR version here is that you should have a clear line of sight to the door without being directly in line with the door. This then puts you in a commanding position to see who's entering or leaving the room, preventing any unwanted jump scares from someone sneaking up on you, while at the same time not being so focused on the door that you're distracted by what's down the hall. Our final principle here is elemental balance. Basic idea here is that there are 5 core elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Each of these can be represented in our environment by a physical object, like a piece of wooden furniture or a ceramic piece of pottery. It can also be represented by a color. Water is deep blue and black. Fire corresponds to reds and bright yellows, so you get the idea. Each element is meant to offer some sort of benefit. For instance, earth offers grounding, metal offers clarity. But the overall goal is just balance with all elements present. Shape also important here. For instance, designs with sharp edges or harsh patterns, they're said to cut off creativity and induce stress. Instead, Feng Shui recommends using more curved pieces to create openness and a better flow of energy. So, with all of that in mind, it was time to start the experiment. Steph and I were ready to transform the most stressful room in the house, our office, into a Feng Shui Serenity Palace.
Hi, Style Theory.
Hey, AD.
Welcome to our office space.
Oh my gosh, we can't wait to have you over. We didn't do anything to change it before you arrived, obviously.
It's actually very obvious that we've done anything.
Yeah, seriously, we didn't.
So you'll notice right below us is our rug. It is very angular and very geometric because we are very repressed people, and the hard edges of the shapes and the black and white coloring is really indicative of how constrained we feel as human beings.
Yeah, we really just pulled ourselves in until the absolute point of bursting, and that we really want to reflect in our personal style.
There used to be about 4 Diet Coke cans all just sprinkled around in like a really nice melange, if you will. They really brought out the desperate desire of trying to stay awake in order to get through the amount of work that I need to do on a day-to-day basis.
It's sculptural, but also functional. My mom gave me this street map of London, which I feel bad to be thrown away because she's my mom, but I have Google, so realistically, this is never going to get used.
Oh, this is a particular highlight. This right here is literally. This right here is fantastic. This is Stephanie's charger for these headphones that no longer work, that she permanently fused to the desk with the sticky. These don't work anymore, nor have they ever worked.
Coming over to my desk, there's the...
I don't know why this is still here.
Here's a mouse that ran out of batteries a bunch of times, and it should be thrown away, but I'm like, well, maybe it still works, and I just don't have the skills to use this mouse without it running out of batteries all the time, so it just sits here and often gets confused for my actual mouse. This is a phone charger that charges really slowly.
I got that.
Not really.
Real talk. Stephanie does not charge her own phone. She just leaves it there and then winds up surprised that it's not charged. Even though I have set up no less than 4 charging banks at the various places around the house that she sits at for extended periods of time. Her phone sits right there, right next to it. Why is my phone not charged? So I put things right here. Forgive me for being a little slow.
I'm starting to see where this experiment is going. Here's Matthew's sweater, because Matthew leaves articles of clothing all over the office, usually individual socks that don't have matches. There are usually like 6 separate unmatched socks strewn all over.
I hate this type of stuffing.
Indiscriminate. They could be up there, they could be down on the floor, they could be draped across the computer, they could be anywhere, and they never have a match.
No.
Ever.
No, that's because wearing one sock is the ultimate way to wear a sock. But let us not forget this. This is the congratulations gift that we sent to all of our friends for the launch of Style Theory earlier this year. It has sat in the same position on Stephanie's desk since we sent these out at the beginning of this year. No joke. I went to move it like 2 weeks ago. She's like, no! Don't do that. I'm going to do something with that. And here it remains.
Clearly, we need all the help we can get. Luckily, we weren't doing this one alone. To get as much data as possible, we enlisted the help of GT Live fan favorite Ash and her partner Tamar, who both volunteered not just 1, but 2 rooms of their new apartment to our specific cause.
Hey y'all, Ash and Tamar here. It is our 3rd night living in this new place. We just got here, and when we found out that Style Theory was going to do this Feng Shui experiment, we were like, yeah man, why don't we set up our new place for success? So that's what we're about to do today. What we are planning to do is we are going to try and do this experiment on the same timeline as Matt and Steph,
in our living room and also upstairs in our new office space. The goal of doing this is to increase creativity and decrease our stress and anxiety. I would say stress and anxiety are pretty high because we've just yeah, we are so stressed out. Literally anything can send us over right now.
For all of our collective sakes, I hope this one works. Now to
Oh, that's it. The stuffing's coming out. I'm just going to replace it with something softer.
You found it then.
Of course I did. Good boy.
Look, I deleted Garrett.
But to measure how effective Feng Shui was at changing our mental and physical health, throughout the 2-week period of the experiment, we did check-ins to note any changes that we were feeling. Were our stress levels lower? Did our productivity suddenly go through the roof? Or was all the upheaval of moving just a waste of time and precious man-hours? So, equipped with instructions and new home goods shipped over from creative director Amy, it was time for the lifestyle makeover.
All right, let's do this.
All right, we've gotten our instructions from Amy. We've gotten an influx of new things to sprinkle around our office, so I guess we get to it. Starting with the repression rug.
Get it out of here.
Get out of here, you thing that symbolically represents all the tension and frustration that I keep bottled up on a day-to-day basis.
I think we can move it to the channel manager's office. I think they can take some repression and pent up frustration.
Oh, good. I'm sure Josiah and Sam would love that.
We'll just kick the frustration down the hall. It'll be great.
Pay it forward.
And so the repression rug had to go. In its place, we had a rounded rug to improve flow and creativity.
I feel better already.
Note to production team, double check your measurements, please.
Well, note to the executive staff, rugs are expensive.
Fair enough, then he made the right call. Anyway, whether ironically or unironically, our tiny rug replacement, it did manage to get the good vibes of flowing.
Oh, I feel the circle flowing through me.
Here, move over.
I mean, here's the thing. I feel less stressed by how this makes me laugh. It's so tiny. It's the teeniest circle.
Does Feng Shui have no sense of proportion? I do feel cool, though.
Next up on the to-do list was decluttering.
Boom! Big on style theory box. Johto, let's go.
Clearly, I was having myself a grand old time. Steph, though, yeah, not so much.
What if I touch this rock regularly? It's sort of like a little stress rock.
Thought rock?
A little thought rock. A thinky rock. Okay, so I'm gonna keep the thinky rock because I genuinely touch the thinky rock.
Okay, keep the thinky rock.
Okay. What about your crystals? Do you touch the crystals?
I alternate between touching crystals and touching FAB tokens.
I like looking at
Depending on the day.
But sacrifices needed to be made, so I was forced to make some truly difficult decisions. The Faz tokens had to go. Let's be honest, I think about FNAF enough anyway.
What about this?
I like it.
What about a picture of my son and wife? I'm not touching this every day. Screw that.
Over the next half hour, we debated the merits of every little knick-knack and tchotchke in our office until we were left with nothing but the bare essentials.
Ooh. Stephanie, did you know that we were nominated for a Stravie Award for Creator of Social Good in 2022?
Hey-o!
Creator of social good. I like that.
2022!
It's underneath it.
Some probably important employment.
Oh, look, a document that we definitely should... Oh, a quarterly tax return.
We are very organized.
Having removed all of our clutter and some important government paperwork, it was time to add the plants.
This isn't just any plant. This is a money tree.
Hey!
Looks like Amy was dropping some not-so-subtle hints for boosting our budget in future episodes.
I will give you 3 money trees if it means you'll let me get you a bigger rug.
That said, out of everything in the room makeover, it was the plants that actually had us the most worried.
How much water do these need, though, realistically? Because sometimes we go on business trips and then we come back and the plants are dead and it's very...
If you're feeling overwhelmed, stay on the circle.
Circle, I'm afraid that I'm going to kill the plants.
Luckily, Amy thought of that in advance, so she got us some easy-to-care-for, cat-friendly plants, which then led us into the heavy labor portion of the episode. Our office actually has 2 separate entrances, one into the house and one out to the deck. So we had to figure out the best command position for both of us. Basically a not-so-spicy logic puzzle.
You and me commanding. I command this way.
So
you command this way.
Wait, how are you gonna be commanding this?
Speaking of logic puzzles, the mirrors, which added a few more circles and organizational nightmares to the room.
We have 2 mirrors on 2 sides of the same closet, and they're different heights.
Yeah. I mean, mine's the appropriate height.
No, mine aligns with the fan art. I was taking my cue from the existing Feng Shui.
Oh, and I was taking my cue from the existing foundational structures of the house.
No,
Yeah.
some random height above the light switch.
An appropriate relative height to the light switch.
Once we got everything squared away, I was feeling cautiously optimistic.
I am hopeful. Do I think it's going to make a substantial difference? No. But do I think that it's going to improve our mental well-being just to have stuff that's been lingering around for a long time today? Yes. Yes, I do.
Steph, meanwhile, she was feeling a bit reflective, maybe thanks to all those mirrors.
This is why. This is why this episode exists, because interior decorating is kind of hard, actually. And I called one interior designer one time, and they came over and they were so snotty and mean to me, and I have never forgiven them, and I've never lived it down, and I've never called another one because I can't get over it. And so this is why we have a problem. This is why we're here. Because I couldn't get over one interior designer.
I'm so exhausted from this process, and all we've done is move 2 desks and hung three mirrors.
And while Steph and I were working away in the office, Ash and Tamar were going through a very similar process over in their apartment. A very similar process.
Amy got us keep
Yeah.
keep this rug. Very little. He's just a little guy.
You know what they say, it's not the size of your rug that matters, it's how you use it. And sometimes the way you use it winds up being incredibly redundant.
So we're just gonna put this right in the middle of the room. So it looks like again, just in the middle of the room.
I like that.
I love it. It's good. It's a swing. I don't know what it's giving, but it sure is.
Amy, real talk, what happened with these rugs?
I did a retail of shame. I hate rugs. Also, next time give me the dimensions of the room that you need me to shop for. It's not my fault.
So, while the rugs wound up being a big ol' miss, they also added a few plants and some round wooden artwork to decorate their walls, all while repositioning their couch to the proper command position. Over in their office, they added some metallic pots and a match of mirrors.
There is no way this is a space to what? This is for people to put together.
And just like Steph and I, Ash and Tamar, they were feeling optimistic about the test.
So what I'm really excited about with this experiment is not only making my house a little bit nicer, this new place, it's also kind of establishing new habits, right? A big part of this experiment is taking away clutter, something I am notoriously terrible at. I am very heavily ADHD hardwired, even though it's a little bit harder for me to keep things put together, to kind of keep that clutter away. I think this helps me sort of recalibrate my habits and see if I can actually keep things a little bit cleaner, and if that actually impacts my stress levels and my anxiety levels. I'm really interested to see if this helps with my focus levels, my creativity levels, and just my sense of being calm and relaxed.
And with that, the redecorating portion of the day was officially over. But with everything in place, would it work? Would we achieve greater peace of mind and ascend to nirvana? Well,
Thank you guys for the thumbs up before you head out. That's always appreciated.
Our sponsor for today's episode, Rocket Mortgage. We've worked with Rocket Mortgage in the past, and I'm super excited that they came back to work with us again, because they have an amazing channel right here on YouTube.com, available for free for you to watch, called Rocket Learn. It is without question the best place to learn about all things home. From home loans and finances to the histories of some of the coolest homes across America, Rocket Learn has it all. My favorite show is Home Lore. Bet you can guess why I like it so much. The show is...
We're getting there.
The show is one part house tour and one part deep dive into the history of some pretty interesting interesting places. In one of the more recent episodes, they opened the doors to the Hillwood Estate, a 1920s mansion built by Marjorie Merriweather Post, one of America's wealthiest business people. But what made it especially interesting was that she made her fortune in cereal and fast food. And if you've ever watched Food Theory's programming, you know that I love talking about both those things. And while I don't think that Marjorie got the memo on Feng Shui's minimalism trend, her house is full of these incredible treasures like Fabergé eggs, even a chair owned by Marie Antoinette. That said, she did have a Japanese Zen garden on the estate too, so I imagine that she was doing pretty well for herself. Nowadays, it's a museum, and I definitely need to add it to my bucket list of travel destinations across the US. Rocket Learn currently has over 20 episodes available of home lore, all there to keep you entertained and educated. So go, click the link that you see in the description below to check out the full episode of home lore, and while you're at it, make sure you're subscribing to Rocket Learn so you never miss any of their amazing content, helping to make you a better homeowner, better home shopper, or just being aware of homes in general. Thanks again to Rocket Mortgage for sponsoring this episode, and now let's check back in with the office. Over the rest of the week, we just went about business as usual, attending meetings, writing scripts, all the normal boring behind-the-scenes stuff that goes into making these videos, and that meant plenty of time in this new office setup. So at the Midpoint check-in, we had plenty of things to say.
Hello, welcome to my new calm office. What questions do you have for me?
Well, live action me, how are you feeling? Any improvements? Any complaints?
You know, I gotta say, having reduced clutter on desks has been very nice. I do know in the back of my mind that the clutter exists unorganized in various drawers that we just shoved it into, so that's not the greatest, but I think overall, the lack of clutter and the general openness has been really beneficial.
Only keeping around the objects that I used regularly was delivering positive effects on my focus in more ways than one.
Shut it.
Are we done meditating?
Yes.
Definitely the right choice over those fast tokens. That said, there was still one piece of clutter that had to go.
Right, what is the deal with the one printer in our office? Because on one hand, it's a little bit distracting, because if anyone comes in to use the office's one printer that just so happens to live in our office, I'm like, that was a bad design decision. You know what would feng slay me? Is getting that printer out of here.
Note self, next time we do a redecorating episode, that printer gets to live with Sam and Josiah like the repression rug. In all seriousness though, by paring the office down to just the essentials, I was able to focus on all the smaller distractions that were also harming my day-to-day productivity. And I wasn't the only one who was feeling the benefits that came with a clean desk.
I exist in a situation where I get a lot of requests every day. I come into every day with an already pre-existing to-do list from the things that I didn't have time to finish from the day before. And then I walk in and I have new requests that come in like as soon as I'm at my desk in the morning. So when it comes to trying to figure out what I'm doing during the day and prioritizing, that can actually be a challenge in and of itself. And so having fewer things around me creates fewer distractions. It doesn't eliminate my distractions or my feeling that I'm being pulled in multiple directions, but at least my physical space isn't contributing to that. It's all just in here.
And while Tamara was also feeling the focus, she did have one minor issue.
I will say that it feels very nice in here. It feels a little still, I want to say. Maybe that might just be because we don't have very many decorations in here.
Stuff the back of his head. I'll have to do that the other way.
My computer. So it
When his face dries.
focused, but it feels very like co-working space.
Rabbit monkey. Wasn't there a bunch of, like, monkeys that escaped in the States somewhere? What the hell happened here? The dog, that's what happened here.
Because yeah, right now I feel so motivated and inspired to like put stuff away. But when stuff is away, I forget it exists. I don't remember anything.
Should get that looked into, Ash. I don't think moving some furniture around is going to help with that. Two of the things that didn't really seem to be helping, the colors.
The fact that I don't have an immediate answer for you should probably tell you that the color has made little difference in my life. Very brown.
I'm actually not a big fan of beige, so I don't really love the sandy, earthy tones. I could take it or leave it.
There was one color, though, that was unanimously loved. The green.
I do like seeing the green. I feel like I'm in a little jungle setting.
Steph and Tamar, they also grew to love their plant babies.
I love feng shui.
Very, very beautiful out the window, and so
That's a cute little piggy. Let's fix that.
And the plants, that does make it feel like a nice creative space.
And while the tiny rugs were still much useless, we did continue continue to bring me joy each and every time I looked at them. So overall, I would say that the results of week 1 were locked in as cautiously positive.
When it comes to this week, I've felt more positively about my own behindness.
It feels like an art to me. I already feel more motivated to use these feng shui principles in other rooms in my home.
I think the fact that we have I don't know if this will work because
set up and clear does actually give a nice contrast to the rest of the house, which is not done yet. And being in the spaces that feel like done and clean and organized and intentional feels really good.
I will say, on the whole, I went into this episode being like, this is dumb. But the small changes that have happened have yielded some results, which is significantly more than I ever expected.
Overall, we all seem to be a bit more focused and a little less mentally stressed. But would those results hold on for an extra week once we had gotten accustomed to everything? Shockingly, no. The results
oh my god,
actually
it's
got
past
better.
10 already.
By the end of the second week of testing, the overall consensus was that everyone felt more focused and in control. The overall lack of clutter was the single #1 biggest all-star change that we all made.
I would say I definitely feel more focused with less stuff on my desk. I would say that less is more is absolutely the mentality to go into in my desk space. And my desk had been pretty cluttered for a while because stuff just piles up, you know, and you're like, oh, I'll deal with it later. And actually just clearing the decks made a big difference. So I feel more focused, less stressed, and definitely less distracted.
It has been really nice to have these couple of spaces that feel not only done, but well done. I definitely feel less distracted in the office than I did in our previous office.
Yeah, you know what? I am less stressed and I'm less distracted. I had an email come in today being like, emergency, emergency, it's Friday and next week's theory is not going to be ready in time. So we have to do a last minute pivot. And I nodded my head and I'm like, all right, we're going to solve that. As opposed to, oh no, I'm all stressed and this has ruined my entire weekend. Which it has, but I'm calmer about it.
But it was Ash who seemed to experience the biggest benefit.
I genuinely think this made a really big difference. After I was diagnosed with ADHD in college, I got accommodations from the university to do testing in a testing center. So I was put into this really small room with a clock on the wall, really boring paint, and just nothing else going on. It created an environment where I didn't have a choice but to focus on what was in front of me, and I kind of feel like that is the vibe I got from it. Even though distractions, I've seen improvements in my own work ethic and my focus, which sounds crazy and does feel that way. I think it's true. I really think it's true.
So what's the big
Nope,
takeaway
it's
of
coming
this
up.
episode? Is Feng Shui really
So
the
that back on
magic
later.
cure-all for getting rid of all that pent-up stress and anxiety? The short answer, no. Feng Shui did not cure any of our problems. What it did do, though, was help in subtle, smaller ways. Steph felt better when she saw the plants. I smiled every time I stepped on that stupid rug. Ash felt more focused without all the clutter, and Tamara liked the vibe of the colors. In a funny way, I think that Feng Shui works a lot like YouTube optimization. On any given YouTube channel, there are tons of small things that can all help your video do better. You can have better colors in your thumbnail. You can have more exciting words in your title. You could have better writing, better visual editing, faster pace. The list literally goes on and on and on. And each one of those things helps a little bit. An extra % click through here, a few extra watch minutes there. Alone, it's not doing a whole heck of a lot. But together, all those small things add up to make a big difference. Feng Shui seems to function similarly. One small rug, a little less clutter, fewer harsh lines. It accumulates. It snowballs. And if you spread it across your whole living space and not just limit it to a single room, I suspect it would help even more. When Amy pitched me this episode, I'll admit, I was skeptical. I thought that this one was going to be a big old bust. Oops, it didn't work. No conclusion here. But what I learned through this short little experiment is how the space around you affects your well-being in difficult to articulate ways. I said this during my final day recap, and I think it sums it up pretty nicely.
So one of the things that's also really noteworthy in all of this is while we've been doing this experiment, we've also been moving the GT Live studio up to our attic. It was down here in our basement with the yellow wallpaper and the Easter egg blue couch. Now it's upstairs and we're using an orange couch with a green background, and the vibe is different. And there is definitely a perceptible change in how we feel in that space relative to how we felt in kind of the more yellow, warmer space. We're not sure if that's a good thing, if it's a bad thing, it's just different. And time will tell how that affects us, but what these couple of weeks have shown me between GT Live and this experiment is that the space that you put yourself in really does have imperceptible differences in the way you feel, in your mood, in your attitude, in your behavior. There is a lot of truth to the vibe or the aesthetics of a location. that it can really do things to the way that you approach your work, to the way that you approach your energy levels, that might not be perceptible to you and might be difficult to articulate, but are impacting your relation. It's really cool.
So, how can you apply this today? Declutter. Above and beyond all else, the one move that universally worked to ease all of our collective stress and anxiety. The one thing that gave us an immediate boost to everyone in the experiment, cleaning out the garbage. So, I'm actually going to give you a bit of homework, friends. Yeah, that's right. I want you to take around whatever room in your house you spend the most time in.
You're asking me to do the impossible.
Logging up your space. And for 1
Alright, you
week,
need to get defuzzied rather. But you're pretty much ready to go.
And report to me if you feel the same difference that all of us felt in this episode. And if you feel like taking it one step further and actually filming your progress, we also have ourselves a brand new Team Theorist Instagram and Twitter, if that's where you prefer to scroll the hours away. Anyway, I look forward to seeing your Feng Shui journey as well. No, excuse me, I need to go buy a measuring tape for Amy. We gotta go buy some bigger rugs. But hey, that's just a theory. A lifestyle theory. Keep looking and living sharp.
Wow, I love Feng Shui. You know what else I love? Style theory. Click on my link for a latest theory on anti-AI clothing. And click on my right for another fun and exciting theory. And make sure to hit that subscribe button. Well, that's all from me. I'll see you later. Bye!
With IXL, there's an endless number of skills that match exactly what my kids are working on in class right now. And with so many different kinds of questions. My kids never get bored.
Yes! Yes!
IXL helps my children learn at their own pace, starting off with easier questions.
Don't care, I don't have kids! Why would I bring them into the world but I couldn't guarantee their safety and or future?
Hello, theorists. Have you been looking in the mirror and liking what you see? Have you found yourself saying, I look pretty neat? Or maybe even thinking, I don't feel the need to fix myself at all. Wait, hold on. You have? Oh, geez, that's a style industry emergency. Don't panic. We can fix this. I have just the thing that'll solve the problem. Skincare. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Style Theory, a fresh-faced addition to the theorist family that's creating new wrinkles in your brain. Today we're talking about skincare, an episode that I've wanted to tackle since before the channel was even a little twinkle in my eye. Skincare, from washes, toners, creams, and serums, is a huge piece of the style pie, and so I'm grabbing a heap and helping of it before my time as channel host ends. Also, let's face it, I should probably be looking into skincare for myself at this point. I've lived the last 10 years on lots of fast food and very little sleep. Not really the best recipe for a glowing, wrinkle-free complexion. But I'm sure that if I just look at a few brands and see what they have to offer, I'll be able to fix myself
This is
up.
so cute.
I'm
gonna fucking ruin it.
This one apparently prevents dark spots. This one defends
Oh, thank you guys for the thumbs up before you head out for the night.
banana powder.
Always appreciated.
Apparently that just means I'm gonna turn yellow. This one protects against oxidative damage, but also has oxygenating ginseng. Should my face be hydrated, oxygenated, glowing, brightened, protected against kitty streaks, or just have itself some pure wrinkles? Maybe I just forgo it all, put this mask on, and pretend apparently what looks to be an android. How is anyone supposed to navigate all this? Well, that's the thing, friend. We're really supposed to know. If there's one thing that the skincare market is great at, it's sell and don't tell. This is a $181 billion industry, and it's expected to reach $210 billion by 2028. With the vast majority of that money coming from thousands of face and body products ready to be incorporated into your next 14-step skincare routine. You'll be moisturizing, plumping, brightening, smoothing, toning, rejuvenating, and tightening, all because an ad, influencer, or maybe even just your mom told you that that's what you should be doing.
My mother tells me there is never too much moisturizer. Moisturize, moisturize, moisturize.
Moisturize me!
Yeah.
We believe that skincare products are going to help us stay young forever, but at the end of the day, most of those nice-looking little bottles are full of nothing but empty promises. The skincare industry is able to stay so massive and so successful, not because it's making everyone's face perfect, but because of its incredibly strategic marketing tactics that use our hopes, dreams, and fears against us every time we look in the mirror. How are they doing this? How do they make these products feel so personal, so convincing, and so necessary for all of us? I mean, this industry has us doing 20-step skincare routines, rubbing chemicals that we can't pronounce all over our faces and pushing youthful skin on people who aren't even old enough to vote. To make it through the literal gauntlet of skincare marketing that they're throwing at you every day, you're gonna need to slather on a heap and helping of knowledge. But don't worry, when this episode ends, you'll be armed with every advertising secret
The head different from the body.
for your wallet. To start, if
Maybe,
you feel like
maybe
you've
not.
bought into the skincare industry at the moment, the first thing to do is to cut yourself some slack. Skincare hype
No,
is far
it's
from
not
a new
knit
problem.
wide
The
enough.
beginning of people's obsession with skincare goes way back. Before that. Way before that one too. Actually to 3000 BC.
Well,
to
we
the
know what
original
happened with this one.
influencers.
Needs a bigger smile.
That's right. According to the records that we have, the pharaohs were the first official beauty creators, slathering on skin cream to preserve their baby soft skin. They used natural moisturizers like olive oil and herbs. They mixed together sand and honey to make exfoliating scrubs. Cleopatra was even known for bathing in sour milk, which apparently acts as a natural chemical peel. If any one of those methods showed up on TikTok here in 2024, we'd all be like, OMG, that is so genius! And then everyone would be leaving their milk out in the sun so they could pour it on their faces a couple hours later. Well, props to Cleopatra, she definitely started a trend, but it begs a pretty important question: why? Any idea why the ancient Egyptians were trying so hard to look Instagram ready 5,000 years before Instagram? How the heck did we collectively get this idea that younger skin is a must-have? And while we're at it, you ever think it's weird that we don't even define what young skin actually is? I mean, there's a lot of talk about your skin looking youthful, taking years off your face, turning back the clock, but you ever notice how no one ever mentions the actual age that you're shooting for there? How young are you supposed to be looking here? What is the ideal? From where I'm sitting, 25? It's pretty young. When I'm 50, 35 is gonna be young. For some of you, you're probably like 26 and 18 is young. What defines youthful skin, and why have people been trying to keep it for the past 5,000 years? Well, it turns out that, historically speaking, the definition of youthful skin is like real uncomfortably young. Certainly too young to be used in a commercial here in 2024. Going back to Cleopatra's time, people had an average lifespan of 33 for men and as young as 29 for women. How about that? You're finally old enough to rent a car and you just keel right on over. Ancient civilizations were focused on two things and two things only: surviving and having kids. Typically, they didn't do that first one long enough to even get wrinkly skin. But because of short lifespans, they actually considered people adults at incredibly early ages. About 16 for boys and as young as 13 for girls, which was the age that they typically got married and had babies. That meant that the people who made it in the world were teen moms. So what then does the ideal woman look like in these olden days?
Oh my god,
One
it's
thing
singing
is
these guys.
certainly
Over
too
there.
young to drive. For some concrete examples of this in history, look at Persephone, considered to be one of the most beautiful Greek goddesses, described in the Odyssey as young, 15 when she meets Hades. Helen of Troy, who's known as the most beautiful woman who ever lived, also 15 at the time of the Greek myth that she's in. The Virgin Mary, she's got herself some great skin, and also roughly 16 at the birth of Jesus. Then again, look at her. She's literally glowing. This kind of art showing goddesses and virtuous saints with great skin also set the historic idea that smooth skin your morality as a person. There's a long history going back hundreds of years around the myth that good person inside equals good skin outside. For hundreds of years in the Middle Ages, afflictions like rashes and acne were associated with being immoral, appearing on people who were sinners or maybe even witches. One type of evidence used during the Salem witch trials to convict women of witchcraft was to find a devil's mark on their skin, which could be any kind of rash, pimple, or scar. If your face was splotchy, well, then so was your soul. So from the very beginning of history, the standard of female beauty hasn't revolved around women, it's basically revolved around extremely virtuous little girls. That is not hashtag life goals there, fam. Fast forward to today. By leaving the idea of youthful skin as this nebulous floating target that's not really defined, the skincare industry leads us to imagine whatever youthful means to us personally. And so we're always left wondering if our skin is going to be good enough, when historically, youthful was actually referring to children. Coming into the modern day, you can see that this leaves skincare in this bizarre headspace. The idea of having great skin ties back to our morality, our economic status, our literal survival as a human race. So hey, if you feel sensitive about the topic, it's not you, it is literally an evolutionary battle that you're fighting inside your own body. But hey, you don't have to lose that battle in your hard-earned cash every time you see a commercial. Let's look at how skincare marketing is designed to trigger your insecurities about the purpose using these thousands of years of societal pressure. Won't that be fun? It will be. The commercials are really cringe and funny. Today's skincare companies rely on marketing principles to make you want to buy every cream, lotion, and serum. Mass-produced skincare has been around for over 100 years or so.
Kind of want the green though, because a lot of red on this guy.
Whereas you're just walking in totally unsuspecting. Skincare marketing started out relatively
No, that one.
First marketed in 1870.
I don't know if I have a matching.
It could be used as a makeup remover, rash guard, oil for your baseball glove, hair cream, furniture polish, lip balm, through the 1940s, it was marketed for both men and women as a practical staple to have around the house.
Who needs fancy cream?
Lips, hands to Vaseline petroleum jelly.
You're turning it off.
Because who doesn't want to use oil their rusty wagon wagon wheel. But then things started to heat up when a new wave of products hit the market. The skincare juggernaut of the 50s, cold cream. Cold cream used major marketing tactic number 1.
Ow, fucker, hot fucking bastard.
Now a well-known
I'm fine.
advertising tactic.
Sorry about the
Step number
strain.
1, tell the customer that she has a problem that she didn't know existed. Step number 2, make that problem seem really annoying, something that's gonna just bother her throughout the entire day. Step number 3, tell her how your product's gonna fix the problem and improve her whole life in the process. If you've seen any made-for-TV ads, this is probably the single most extreme version of this sort of tactic.
Do you struggle and strain to reach high places behind the couch or in small tight spaces? Well, not anymore.
Back in the day, cold creams sold themselves by telling women, 1, that their face is much dirtier than they think, 2, that having dirty skin was bad and that soap wasn't able to fix the problem, and 3, that cold cream can fix your skin and improve your life. Here's one of the first early takes of this from the 50s.
Busy you. Think how much dust and dirt settle on your skin. That's why your face needs a thorough cleansing each day.
Once skincare companies started using the tactic, they saw that it worked well to scare women into buying cold cream, so they kept doing it. Let's see how the setup goes in the 1960s.
If you're a soap and water girl, remember soap removes natural oil, and soap doesn't reach deep-set dirt.
A couple decades later, well into the 80s,
This mirror reveals the whole truth. This woman just washed with soap. See the makeup and dirt soap leaves?
I don't see that, actually. But now I'm gonna constantly be wondering if my invisible dirt is ruining my life. Let's jump forward again to the 90s, when women are empowered members of the workplace and should be fooled by a few scare tactics.
Have you been ignoring your skin type? Look at the dirt your soap missed. Oh.
In each and every case,
What do you think?
is the magic fix for that horrible
The kid's gonna behave this year for Santa Claus, or is he gonna have to get Krampus on the game?
Cream is especially recommended for a young complexion.
Oh, there's that thing about being young again.
Once a day, really cleanse with Pond's Cold Cream. Now your skin looks radiantly clear.
That's why, as a skin consultant, I recommend Pond's Cold Cream, lifting away makeup and dirt that soap left behind. See?
Hold up, what's a skin consultant?
Pond's cleans deep down into your pores. Looks great. So soft.
Same tactics, same messaging for almost 50 years. It works because it makes you think that there's something wrong with what you're doing, when what you're doing is probably totally fine for your skin. To make matters worse, this problem agitation solution marketing dovetails perfectly into marketing tactic number 2, FOMO. See, if you're presented with a problem, and then an ad tells you that it's going to solve your problem, suddenly if you don't buy the product, well, then you're missing out. To add to all that pressure, we live in an age where there are thousands of beauty influencers online who are constantly getting products. Just hundreds of new products shipped to them in the mail. Many of them swear by these products when they're showing them to you in a video, even though they might have just gotten them for free in a PR package. They might have been sponsored by the brand, or, they might have just tried them the one time. Just like problem agitation solution marketing, FOMO preys on the most powerful emotion you got, fear. Instead of inspiring you to buy something, it makes you feel bad that you don't buy something. So how do you spot these tactics? Well, it is literally every skincare video on TikTok.
Love, love, love this. Absolutely get it.
Okay, y'all, this is how you're gonna get glass skin for 2024. Use a gauze towel to dry your face. If you use a regular towel, I swear to God, it's gonna freak you out. Use Pinoxyl once a week. I freaking swear by Pinoxyl. And lastly, you can never have enough hyaluronic acid in your skincare.
Personally, I love this TikTok, where it's literally just labeled skincare tips that'll save your life. I hear people accuse me of clickbaiting. Skin talk trends like glass skin, bubble cleanser, that weird green stick mask from a couple years ago, all of them driven by FOMO. The smartest thing that you can do in the face of all this fear-based marketing is to just walk away. Think about what you really need. Unfortunately, the skincare industry is plenty well equipped to make it feel stupid and vulnerable on. Your favorite tactics to continue to blur that lie is to tell you you're buying something because science. A quick reality check here, friendo. Skincare products fall into the category of cosmetics, not medicines, so they don't have any testing or approval requirements from agencies like the FDA.
Kind of a snatchy, but not really.
1950s commercial where they made people's faces radioactive to test cold cream. Probably the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Cleansing tests were made by an independent testing laboratory. This same kind of dirt was made just radioactive enough to register on a Geiger counter.
Despite not being actual medical products and not having any scientific requirements, isn't it funny how a lot of them are still using these big sciencey words?
A hygienic jar containing 2 derm-recommended ingredients. Retinol plus niacinamide pressed into a deep moisturizing night cream. This is genius.
If you have sensitive skin and are looking for an AHA, Mandela's acid is for you.
Microacid, 50 times smaller to penetrate the
Ooh, that stinks.
Look, I deleted Garrett.
microepidermic, mandelic acid, the diagram of the literal jar that looks like a spaceship. These are all classic examples of scientism,
They
which is a
don't line
term
up,
that's
and that
starting to show
pisses
up
me
a lot
off.
more in health and wellness blogs lately. Scientism is the tactic of infusing scientific and technical language into products to make them seem more effective, even when there's no actual science involved. Big watch-out words for this tactic being used are when skincare brands say that their product's been
Cute little
clinically
piggy.
tested or clinically proven to do something. If they're also really emphasizing that this uses ingredients that you can't pronounce or that you don't understand, know that they know that you don't understand. You're not supposed to understand those words. You're just meant to think science cream works good and fork over that credit card information. It sounds great and sciencey to say that something's been clinically tested, but unfortunately that doesn't really tell you much of anything. Remember, there are no regulations here. No one's checking in to see who any of these creams and serums are being tested on. How many people were in the test? What age group? What ethnic backgrounds do they represent? Do we literally know anything about this test at all? As soon as you start asking questions about a lot of these sciencey tests, they crumble faster than a Girl Scout cookie. For instance, take one of the trendiest products to put on your face right now, vitamin C-based serums. You cannot go into a skincare aisle right now without tripping over 10 of these things, all in beautiful little bottles, ready to likely do nothing to your face. I was honestly a big fan of the idea of vitamin C on your face until I bothered to look at the evidence, or should I say the decided lack of evidence. Here's the claim for pretty much all of these serums.
Brightens like a serum, moisturizes like a for even bright glowing skin.
Even bright glowing skin? Amazing!
In just 1 hour, skin is reflowed.
This one bottle also does like 4 things, all of which sound amazing and involve this drop of serum moving through another dimension. But again, where's the data to back it up? And if you're looking to keep your data free from prying eyes, sponsor for today's episode, NordVPN. Whenever you're browsing the internet, you and your data are vulnerable to unwanted prying eyes. From your cookies to your bank information, everything is fair game when you're browsing the internet without the protection of a VPN. And Nord is the best of the best. With their unmatched threat protection and next-generation encryption, you are kept safe from even the worst of malware, trackers, and yes, those annoying ads that are trying to target your hard-earned dollar. Only skincare could be this reliable. And if you're like me, sending out late-night video recordings full of top
soft
secret
stuff
information,
inside.
you're lucky. Nord has hundreds of secure peer-to-peer servers that let you send large files at lightning speed. Its high-speed connection means that you're not left buffering like in ye olden days of dial-up. True story, I very regularly have 60 tabs of different products open all at once as I try to compare different ingredients from across the brands. My speed never suffers with Nord. With over 5,400 servers to choose from, you can just jump from country to country to country instantaneously. But you know what's even better? It's Nord's birthday. And instead of getting them a gift, they're giving us style theorists a gift. For a limited time, you can actually get a huge discount on NordVPN's 2-year plan. And that's not all. They're also giving you an additional 4 months for free when you go to nordvpn.com/styletheory. STYLETHEORY. And with Nord's risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee, there is no reason not to give yourself the gift of online protection on this very special birthday.
Should I do eyes on this one? Maybe.
/styletheory for a huge discount off your 2-year plan, plus that additional 4 months for free.
Oh, I kind of like that.
This episode, and hey, happy birthday,
Alright.
guys. Now then, back to the episode. Well, some products or smaller brands are kind of like this. So if you use them, for some
I like the
higher end
round
brands, though,
too.
they do claim to have tested their products, and they might even list the results on their website, like this vitamin C serum from Estee
Oh, I do
Lauder.
love
They
that
say
one.
86%
Nope, that's not it. Oh, there it is. Yay, matching pair.
88% said that their skin was firmer. That sounds pretty darn good. That's numbers. That's data. Well, it's certainly not nothing, but dig a bit deeper, and I'll let you decide if the numbers are still convincing. The fine print on the website lets us know that they had less than 100 people in their clinical trial. Already not great. Fewer people than you had at your bat mitzvah. No information about what age they were, their ethnicity or skin type, if they were able to use other products, what the overall parameters of this entire thing were. You get the idea. There is a lot that actually goes into scientific experiments that is nowhere to be found here. And remember, we're talking about a 3.4-ounce bottle of cream that is less than a travel size for $100. But okay, back to what they do have. This data is based on them using the cream for 6 weeks straight. The instructions say to use it 2 times per day. That's 84 applications, and it's ideal, their words, after using yet another product. But we don't know if that was related to the experiment. On top of all of that, some of the bigger claims, like the fact that it will reduce your acne scars and dark spots, minimize your pores, those don't have any evidence. Not even a footnote in here. I don't know about you, but
Burning hot.
feel like enough. Is there anything else we can do as customers to try and get more information? Well, I tried. I did an internet search for the Estee Lauder studies that would be published if they were public, and I found nothing. I'm not blaming the company for this. It could be that I just missed them. It could be that they haven't publicly published the data. I'm not trying to
7, 8,
scam or
9,
anything,
10,
but I wish that they had linked to the
13.
actual studies somewhere on the site. The message this sends to me is that they want me to feel like I have the scientific data I need to shell out $100 for a tiny vial of serum.
Cool, you bastard.
Want me having access to the
Thank you guys for the thumbs up before you head out for the night. It's always appreciated. I know I'm not exactly entertaining to watch, but I like having you guys around. It makes me feel productive.
To look for any clinical studies done on vitamin C serum to see what is available out there in the public. For such a well-known product, there was a lot less than I expected. Well, there were a couple, and I do mean 2 or 3 studies in middle-aged patients that showed vitamin C reducing sun damage. The broader results were underwhelming and often nothing at all. The most comprehensive clinical review I found from September of 2023 listed 7 clinical studies that have been done with topical vitamin C since 2010. Most studies involved 60 people total. A few had less than 30. The average patient age was 48, and 77% of the studies didn't even report a skin type for the patients that were participating. Most of the studies required patients to use the product for 12 weeks to see a result. Some of them were totally subjective in the data that they were gathering. A lot of them used multiple products, or even gave the patients laser face treatments with the vitamin C. This all left me feeling pretty unconvinced that a random bottle of vitamin C serum is going to make a big difference to my face. And I'm not the only one, my friends. The results of actual clinical testing on these serums has been so bad that the New York Times published an article specifically calling out the fact that this is not a proven ingredient to fix the problems with your face. But the thing is, that research right there, that took me almost an hour to get. I'm pretty good at finding and reading scientific papers. Skincare companies know most people can't or don't want to do that sort of thing. So instead, they just show a model with great skin who happens to be dabbing on some cream and hope that you'll believe that it's the science. The takeaway here, science isn't science when it comes to skincare products. All those sciencey words, they're there to help you justify enormous price tags. And no one's regulating whether or not they're going to do anything to your face. Speaking of enormous price tags, there's one more big marketing category that we got to talk about here. And it's one that you know well if you've spent time on YouTube. Aspirational advertising. The idea of aspirational advertising is to show you some awesome, better version of you that's just out of reach. But you know what could bring it within your grasp? Buying this product. This started as early as the 1950s, when using skincare promoted the aspirational dream of getting a husband.
I'm marrying Mervyn. Creaming twice each night with Pond's cold cream. Once to get off makeup and grime, then again. That's the secret. Mervyn, I never dreamed you'd want to marry me.
She's not the only one creaming her face to fulfill her dreams.
I've been creaming my face twice every day for 7 days. Wow, Pond's 7-day beauty plan really works.
And then, of course, there are those people who aspire to...
So that comment didn't age well. Nope. Nope, that's still not aging any better.
Eventually, beauty brands caught on to the idea that women aspire to be more than just date. So aspirational beauty content centered around doing it all.
I live with the time. I discovered Plenitude Advanced Wrinkle Defense Cream from L'Oreal.
Nowadays, aspirational beauty content centers around influencers online. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The grammars and talkers who have perfect skin always do their 47-step skincare routine and always dress well, eat well, live in a beautiful home. Everything you want to be, if only you knew their secret. Celebrity skincare routines from Paris Hilton, Ariana Grande, Kendall Jenner. All of them are great examples of these aspirational skincare moves that make us believe that we too can look like Kendall as long as we shell out $300 for her night cream. We might recognize in our little thinky brains that these people have had professional procedures, plastic surgery, camera magic applied to them.
Fluffy.
There's still part of us that wants
Stop
to
holding the other fluff.
by buying the same products that they have. This marketing also does a great job of applying a dollar value to how much we care about ourselves. How much is it worth for you to look like Kim Kardashian? Is it worth a $50 retinol cream? A $200 face mask? A skincare regimen that'll cost you $600 across 12 products at Sephora? This kind of marketing is constantly forcing you to ask, am I worth that much? Oh wait, that sounds like a familiar phrase.
Because we're worth it.
There you have your answer, right? If you're questioning whether you're worth it, you have skincare companies right there to tell you, yeah, you are. As a marketing phrase, L'Oreal started using because I'm worth it during the women's liberation movement.
In the 70s, the women's rights movement descended into the streets, but advertising had not yet given women a voice. Their husbands did the talking for them. A 23-year-old advertiser came up with this slogan, because I'm worth it, and revolutionized the rules of advertising for an entire era.
There's no doubt that empowering women to speak for themselves and demand what they want is a good thing. But as a marketing idea, well, it starts to cut both ways. You're worth it both serves the purpose of telling women that their health, beauty, and self-esteem are worth investing in, a good message by itself from friends. But it's a very different story when you recognize that it's coming from a money-hungry company saying those words to help you swallow the bill of $100 snake oil. Oh, it's $100 for a really small bottle? Well, I'm worth it. And if I don't buy it, I'm not valuing myself enough. I'm not worth $100. So after all that, marketing feel sad, jealous, stupid, old, and not glamorous enough, they're finally here to tell you, you know what, customer, go ahead, buy another face cream. You are just so
Why are you so
worth it.
fluffy?
When it comes to skincare, there's a reason
Not in a good
why
way.
it makes a lot of us feel so confused. It's because it's designed to. That's the way it's supposed to work. So then, what do you do about all this? How do you fight back? Well, first of all, you look for these tactics. The next time a beauty influencer pops up on
Let's
TikTok,
finish you.
identify the emotions that you feel when they're telling you to try the trend right now, or that you have to get a product to use. The truth is, you don't have to. Really, you don't. You don't have to buy anything. Buying or not buying face cream will absolutely not change your life. The only thing it is going to change your credit card bill at the end of the month. Does that mean that you shouldn't own any skincare products at all? No, of course not. If there's something that you choose, not because of some scare tactic, but because you enjoy using it for whatever reason, that's awesome. Do that. You don't have to feel guilty because you don't own 20 skincare products. You are free to just slap on some sunscreen and get on your way. Because SPF, sun protection factor, yep, that is like the only thing in any of these lotions that is universally proven with hard, actual science to be great for your skin. Protect your face from the sun, folks. That's all you need to know. And with that information, you're now armed with the knowledge that you need to keep yourself, your wallet, and your skin safe from the skincare aisle. Good luck out there. And as always, remember, it's just a theory. A style theory. Keep looking sharp.
I might question my life choices mid-plank. I never made deodorant. Secret.
You can fit a lot of vacation into a weekend. Book your next weekend getaway with Bearbell.
Should you or should you not be washing your legs? That is the question that has divided households. Broken friendships, destroyed relationships. But who is
I will
actually
wash
right?
my
Today
legs.
we're throwing ourselves and our
Because
employees
otherwise
into
it's
the shower
weird.
to find out whether gravity can wash your legs for you. And the results may
Just a white
just
person
change your
question.
life forever.
No way. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Style Theory. Since the dawn of mankind, we have asked ourselves the biggest of questions. What is the meaning of life? Why doesn't Apple Jacks taste like apple? And most importantly of all, do we need to actually wash our legs?
Now, this might seem like a ridiculous question, but believe it or not, a 2019 Twitter poll revealed that 20% of people, when they take a shower, don't actually wash their legs. And we're not talking about a small sample size here either. More than 600,000 people responded to this thing, which means that 120,000 people who voted said no, they ain't touching their stanky legs. And the more you look around the internet, the more you see just how heated this discussion can get.
You got to get down in there.
Just like not worked up about it. I don't know.
You don't wash your legs?
Wash your legs.
What do
in the
you
shower.
mean, like washing my legs?
If you're in the shower, it's to get clean. Wash your body.
The general thought here is that the soaps and shampoos that you use on the top half of your body run down over your legs, thereby cleaning you in the process. So instead of doing the awkward, naked, bend over, moon in the gods above, you instead let gravity do all the work for you. But riddle me this, theorists, of that 20% who said they don't wash their legs, would you assume the voters in it skewed more male or female identified? Leave the answer down in the comments below right before you continue watching the video. No cheating. I will know if you cheat. I have my ways. You done? Awesome. Well, if you are like me and were part of Team Dudes Are Gross, get ready to have your world rocked. According to a follow-up poll, 80.7% of men said that they washed their legs. Women, 75.1%. More women skip washing their legs. That was shocking to me. I think I need to apologize to all my fellow men out there for assuming the worst of you. That said, it can actually work, can it?
You guys know that we here at Team Theorist are always looking for ways to save you money, ways to save you time. So if there's an optimized way to actually shower and wash your body, then we are going to be here to test it. So with 2 weeks left to go before our new HR manager joins the team, we decided we'd put this mystery to the test and throw everyone in the shower. I swear this is a channel that's not going to get me monetized. But before we started throwing Team Theorist under the old shower head, we decided, hey, let's learn a little bit about how we can actually clean our bodies. We decided to bring in Theorist Stephanie.
Hello. I thought that there were going to be some parts of our life and house that didn't end up on one of these channels, and boy, how wrong I was. Welcome to our actual personal room and bathroom.
In our most loved spaces.
I have more
that we can
upstairs.
write this square footage
But I want to go upstairs to get them.
Yeah, that's great.
Barbie
Fun
brain
fact, actually,
needs to be
that's why
gutted.
the channels are what they're. It's not
You
like
disembowel
optimization,
you.
it's not
It's
about
so
YouTube
tiny.
trends,
I
things
need
like
bigger
that. So you're like,
jaws.
yeah, I wanna buy video games. That's
I need
And
bigger
I
jaws for
need
Bunny.
some new shampoo, so let's start a style.
Oh, I don't want to go upstairs and bring stuff down.
Rampage through our
I don't want to start painting either.
Speaking of soap, it turns
I
out
think I might be done for the night. It's not my best live stream, but I did work a 12-hour shift, so I'm kind of fucking tired. My neighbor's favorite chicken, my neighbor's only chicken, got disemboweled, so that's kind of a bummer.
Man, nothing like classic Nicktoons to really
Not have any more?
All the other dyes, the lotions, the perfume and
Their
stuff in
bodies.
yourself don't actually contribute to cleaning your
Their
body.
bodies.
Just this one type of molecule does. A surfactant molecule has two sides, an oily side and a
that's
watery
done.
side. We pretty much intuitively understand most people that
Don't
oil
want to
and
go
water
through that
don't
either.
mix. But the thing is, you have oil on your
This.
skin. That's what
Oh,
the dirt
what's
is.
that?
Extra
Ah,
oil,
that's a cute one.
extra sort of greasy,
You can
gross
fix that
buildup.
pretty
It's all
quick.
good stuff, actually. And
Cute.
We are disgusting creatures.
yeah, honestly.
Mm,
And you can't
you're
get all
tiny.
that oil off just by running water over it because oil and water don't mix. That's where you use soap. So soap has
hello,
the oily
Evie.
side that sticks to the oil on your skin and really binds to it, so it
I have a little
actually
Evie.
pulls off of your skin and washed away. And then the
Hold on,
watery
this-
side sticks to the water that's coming
Carve
from
out your
head from the
face.
shower. And together, it lifts the oil right off of your
Let's
skin and
scar
washes
some
it away
children.
right down the drain. So soap
I'll
is a
tape
really
him later
special
and get his
molecule
fuzzies
because it
off.
actually bridges the gap between two things that should not go together at all. But one of the reasons why soap can make you feel really dried out is that the oily end of those surfactant molecules is sticking so well to the oil on your skin that it's actually pulling all of the oils off. So most of the time, a lot of people end up putting some of it back on by putting on lotion after your shower. If you think about it, bathing is not all that efficient of a process.
It's really interesting. When you break down the chemistry of this,
Oopsie.
water is just kind of like there as a passenger. It's like the support.
Oh, hello. I don't speak that, but hi, thanks for stopping in. I make monsters.
Next time you're in science class,
Spanish?
you will blow your teacher's mind.
Hola?
Anyway, you gotta go get
Si?
changed now. Yes, go.
You parlez français?
Us nicely
Nope.
into the actual experiment.
To get
I'm
the
making
cleanest
monsters.
results, pun definitely intended, we have to account for a variety of variables. Now, obviously, we can't just be showering on camera sans covering. That one's for the OnlyFans. So our dress code for the day was shorts and short sleeves to try and leave as much skin exposed as possible. This then would allow the water and soap to drip down our bods naturally and freely wash away as much dirt as it normally would. Speaking of dirt, our mess for the day was a heavy oil-based coffee scrub, less likely to destroy our plumbing and also a perfect way to ensure that everyone's legs were equally dirty. We also made sure to all use the same soaps, shampoos, and conditioners to keep the chemistry as consistent across the board as possible. No additional variables here. Scientific method, eat your heart out. Everyone was told to keep their shower to 10 minutes, and to ensure that we were accounting for different shower habits, each tester was told to conduct their normal shower routine as if they weren't on camera for 1 million viewers. No pressure there. The only change that we made to their shower routines was asking them to scrub one leg and not the other. That way we could get a visual and tactile comparison between the two immediately after turning the water off. Fun fact, this experiment led me to find out that when it comes to leg washing, Team Theorist was very pro scrubbing across the board. Not a gravity user in the house. Oh, and that does remind me of the one variable I haven't talked about yet, body hair.
Obviously, there's just a natural difference between hairy legs and shaved legs that might play into all of this, right?
Cool.
So we decided to get as large of a sample size as possible across Team Theorists. So let's bring out a couple of our brave volunteers, shall we? Showing up again on the Style Theory channel, it's Amy.
Hello.
And then representing the hairy leg is Sam.
Wait, I'm not the hairy leg?
I have not checked recently, but I'll let you make the judgment call for yourself. Do you need me to hold your leg?
Do you want to?
Okay, so look, there it is. Hairy leg. When was the last time you shaved your legs?
How old am I? 25? Never.
Okay, now, Amy, you have been in for a long time. Is this the weirdest thing you've asked me to do?
It's getting really close, but I still think making me live Tootsie Pops on the internet that will be there forever is probably the weirdest so far.
Sam, you're one of the newer members of the team.
Yeah.
Say hi to everyone. What is one fact that everyone should know about you that'll be your defining character trait from here until the time you leave this company?
When I was in elementary school, I was nationally ranked at guitar hero.
That is awesome, actually.
Yep.
What's this
That's
joker?
what leads you through the fire and flames.
An expert.
Oh, that's so cute. Look at your ears.
Instead of ever leaving my house or making friends, I played guitar hero.
Is this what you thought you were signing up for when you were like, yeah, I'm going to accept that job offer at Team Theory?
I don't think I ever expected the day where you would walk out and be like, what are your thoughts on getting in my shower? Okay.
I will say it is going to be a consistent career path. So
What do you mean it's been a consistent career path?
Because Sam's in my job, and this is where I ended up.
This is not like hey, okay, great. You guys get out of here. Get out of here. Let's move on to the experiment.
After getting changed into my monetization-friendly wetsuit, it was time to get dirty using our dirt du jour. First up, we had our brave volunteers, Amy and Sam. Right away, we noticed a big difference between someone with hairy legs versus someone with smooth legs. The scrub clung to Sam's hairy legs like Velcro, while it had a harder time sticking to Amy's shaved legs. The dirt just had less to hold on to. Maybe this is why, in the poll that we mentioned earlier, women admitted to washing their legs slightly less than many women shave their legs. So maybe they assume that the shaving is also soaping up their legs, removing a dirty layer of skin, or just that there's less hair for the dirt to adhere to.
Motherfucker, hot.
So while Steph and I mourned the state of our bathroom floor, Amy and Sam were ready to enter the shower.
Scrub it all off. How about it, guys?
Now, quick note about the shower setup. Showers typically come with either a diagonal or overhead nozzle. In our bathroom, we have a rainfall shower, meaning that the water is falling from directly above the tester's head down onto their body. Keep this one in mind, we're gonna come back to it later. But for now, back to the bathroom where Steph and I were waiting outside in a totally work-appropriate, totally non-creepy way.
We are...
What's new at McDonald's? Lower prices on your faves. Like the McChicken, Filet-O-Fish, 6-piece Chicken McNuggets, and Big Mac meals. Meals starting at $9.99 with medium fries and a medium fountain drink. Get your faves for less.
We are the peanut gallery, peeking in on our employees as they take showers.
Oh, this is going so wrong so many ways today.
Meanwhile, keep in time, we had Josiah, a new member of Team Theorist who struggled to understand how timers work.
That's it. Just automatically start. It's a preschooler clock. We literally bought it for Ollie.
I think I might be done for the night because I'm pretty tired. I'm gonna call this productive, I guess. That's not my best one, but that is it. Stuck some faces in some things. There's your mental image for the night. Don't care. Ah, I don't care. Off. I'm not hitting the pause button. Alright, well, thank you guys for stopping by, saying hi. I appreciate the thumbs up before you headed out, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. And I will work on these probably, I don't know, maybe I'll sleep tomorrow. Alright, good night.